Rachel Maddow decided that she wanted to have a little bit of a meltdown, and she said they got the big to-do list over there on MSNBC on how to defend democracy. Let's get to it.
If you are an American citizen who does not want to ashcan the American system of government, who doesn't want a strongman authoritarian system where the whole government is one guy and everything else just exists to serve him, if that is not the kind of country that you want, then yesterday's election means you have more to do for your country than you have ever done before. Because now is when the rubber really hits the road, right? We don't just flip a switch and the American system of government is gone. Democracy is gone. It doesn't work like that. I mean, not to be boring here for a second, but just getting very real. We now are just another one in the list of countries that has decided to, hey, what the heck? Let's try.
Y'all said I ain't got to hold myself to a higher standard. Oh, man, because Anton going to be having them conversations. You see that black couch back there? Listen, let me tell y'all something before we get to Rachel Maddow. That black couch is legendary. That couch right there, that is a legendary couch right there. That couch, then seen more booties sit on there talk about some of the wildest things than ever before. That couch, I might have to retire that couch. I think I'm going to take that over to a place. So I know I'm about to redo the studio, but that couch, something, it's got to stay somewhere. The legendary black couch got to stay. You know what I'm saying?
Try the strongman thing. Let's let democracy go. Let's put in an all-powerful guy instead, see how it goes. There are many more countries in the world governed by that kind of a system than there are governed by ours. We are the only 248-year-old multiracial, pluralistic democracy in the world. And shall we keep it? A lot of our fellow Americans say we shouldn't. Now we know. Now we know for sure. But a lot of Americans, tens of millions of Americans, say we should keep that system. Which means time to fight for it. And yes, Americans did fight for it by working on this election, by trying to get the candidate elected who was both the Democrat and the small d Democrat. She didn't win. The strongman candidate won instead. But now history doesn't end. Time doesn't stop. Now we have the benefit of knowing, how this has gone in every other country that has been through a democracy to authoritarian transition.
Yeah, somebody said it in the chat. This sounds like insurrection talk. If Trump had lost, and Fox News or anybody else or J.D. Vance had been talking like this, they would say that this is insurrection talk. What I don't understand is how these Democrats can't read the room. Even people that traditionally label themselves Democrats decided that they wanted to vote for Trump, and they voted Republican down ballot. Y'all lost the Senate. You didn't vote in the person that was handpicked for y'all in the presidency. And now y'all talking this wild talk that makes y'all even more radical than the thing that got you ousted in the first place. Don't you realize that people don't want what y'all selling? They don't want men participating in women's sports. They don't want men participating in women's bathrooms. They don't want gender affirmation transitions inside of prisons on the behalf of taxpayer dollars. At some point, you got to read the room and say, you know what? Am I crazy? Because everybody else, are they crazy or am I crazy? You can't lose this bad and still be standing on business. Somebody in the chat said MSNBC is for sale. Is that true? Is that true? Because if they for sale, then that means that they're not as profitable and they still not reading the room. If they for sale, then that means they're not as profitable and they still not reading the room.
And sadly, there are a lot of them. We have the benefit of seeing what's happened in those other countries, though. And what we know is that the more ground the authoritarian takes, the harder it is to ever get that ground back. And so the first order of business is to stop them from taking any uncontested ground right from the outset when it comes to what our system of government is and what our democracy is. Right? We know from other countries' experiences that quickly, I mean now, in the next few weeks, if not the next few days, they are going to start pushing to see how far the country is going to let them go without pushback, without protest. And part of this is because it's just psychologically advantageous for them to do this now, right? They're counting on the half the country that voted against them, the half the country that doesn't want to give up our system of government. They're counting on all those tens of millions of Americans to be despondent, to feel powerless, to check out, which of course would mean letting them do what they want, letting them run the table. What they really don't want is for the half the country that voted against them, the half the country that wants to keep our democracy. What they really don't want is for those tens of millions of Americans to wake up tomorrow feeling scrappy as hell, feeling, sure, regretful about the election outcome, but also, frankly, freed up from having to spend all of our time working on the election. So now we can work full time on being fricking pirates, on being a thorn in the side to anyone who now intends to try to turn this country into some tin pot tyranny. What they want least of all is to realize that half the country went to bed sad tonight, but then woke up tomorrow fired up with a new
Fired up to do what?
New sense of purpose, knowing that apparently this is what we're on this earth to do as American citizens in this generation.
Listen, they can throw all of this nonsense that they want at y'all. Let me tell you something. Y'all want to know the truth? While they all whining and crying and complaining about the fact that they overpaid anchors that's paid to push an agenda towards y'all that's not beneficial for your family, I'm going to tell you the honest to God truth, okay? This is a reality check from Uncle Anton. You ready? All right, here goes. You are young. You are 18, 22, 24, 28, 30. And one day you're going to wake up and you're going to say to yourself, what the fuck was I doing with my life? Don't turn this off. Church, you keep this on. Trust me. There's people in your congregation that's preaching on your pulpit that ain't really living life the way they're supposed to, but they talk real nice. And there's people like me that's living life the way I'm supposed to, but I don't necessarily talk the way you want me to. I need you to listen to what I'm saying. Kids, listen up. One day you're going to wake up. Right now, you've been programmed to think that this is the way that life is supposed to go. But one day you're going to wake up and you're going to say, damn, I wanted a family. Or damn, I made the transition and I can't go back because I cut my penis off. Or man, all of the lives that I ruined. Or wow, I really do want a family. And you know what happens when you have that come to Jesus moment? You try to make it right by then transitioning over into being more conservative because you realize that the thing that your grandma and your grandfather put in you when you was younger was the thing that never departed from you, but you just went through a whole phase. And so don't let your whole phase become permanent because all you doing is sleeping with the devil. I'm going to tell you the truth. Listen, they can sit there and tell you that you need to fight. I'm telling you, you fighting a losing battle. You can't hotbox with God. You can't hotbox with God. Even God's children, even the ones that God loved the most, he let them go through it so that they can get to it. If you've ever read the word, it'll tell you, you're going to do it before the fight or after the fight, but you still going to do it. The will is still going to get done. It's still going to get done. And so what good does it benefit you to prolong the inevitable? The inevitable being that you have gold, frankincense, and myrrh on this side, but you keep fighting to be a part of the devil's playground. I don't understand it. At some point in your life, it's a reason why people start off as liberal, and then as they get older, they become more conservative. And it's not because they become richer or they become crazier. It's because they become wiser. They're learning and they're evolving. And as they know more and they learn more, they evolve to become something different because they realize the error in their ways and they don't want to continue to go down that path of destruction. Your 20s, The thing that they sold y'all on, and this is a life moment for y'all, the things that they sold you on is that your 20s would be the best time in your life. And for some of y'all whose life stopped in time and you have nothing else to look forward to, it is. I run into people all the time that sit there and say, man, remember when we was in high school? And I'll be like, yeah. And the first time they say it'd be cool. But then the second story that they hit me with, I'll be like, damn, your best years is behind you. What they don't tell you is the decisions that you make in your 20s and your 30s is going to then determine whether or not you actually have a better life in your 40s, 50s, and 60s. Because I'm never going back to my 20s. I'm never going back to being broke. I'm never going back to being a social justice warrior for the wrong thing. I'm never going back to being dusty. I'm never going back to having it, losing it, and then trying to figure it out in the midst of having things and people that depend on me and suffering to the point to where now I'm in a space to where I can do what I want to do when I want to do it. And I don't have to do it for you. I have to do it for myself, for my people, because I'm doing it to lead this earth in a better space. See, now when you become conservative, it's not necessarily about money, and that's what they teach you. They teach you that conservatives and Republicans is for the rich and Democrats is for the poor, and they lied to you. Because the reason why people become conservative has nothing to do with whether or not they get rich or not. The thing that they become conservative about is their values and their morals and their characters. And what we on this side that actually do it the right way and stand for righteousness understand is that it's not about the money. The money is going to come anyway when you're doing it the right way. If you're great at what you do when you do it the right way, eventually you're going to be rewarded by it and you're going to be paid handsomely as a result of it. But what we as a conservative people realize is that it's no longer good to do it the fast way. It's no longer good to mutilate your body. It's no longer good. You're going to pay for all of those unwanted seeds that you eliminated out. Forget the souls that you're dealing with. You're going to pay with your own physical body. Your body is ruined. Do you realize that some of y'all can't even have kids when you want to? Or the man that you wind up meeting that's supposed to be your husband, he don't value you the same because of the way that you mutilated your body and you can't even give him the child that he deserves and you think that he's still supposed to take care of you? Why? Because you had this mindset that then put you in this position that's not beneficial for you when you turn 40 and you turn 50. The same stuff that you fighting against is a thing that's going to save your life. And y'all fighting. You fight so hard for the devil. You fight so hard. And you say reproductive right. I see y'all little funky hoes crying on TV. Yeah, I can't mutilate my body anymore. You still can mutilate your body. You can still vote in your state and determine whether or not you want to remove unwanted pregnancies. Nobody removed that option for you. But we just don't want to participate in it on a federal level. That should not be the government's hand in that. Honest to God, I'm telling you, listen. You're going to wake up one day and you're going to say, dang. I wasted so much of my time. I wasted so much of my life. It could have been better on this side a long time ago. But you're not going to realize it until you done already pissed away majority of your blessings. And then you're just going to have to take whatever it is that God give you. Then that's when women and men transition over into the church and they say, oh, wade in the water. Wade in the water. Then they start going to church every day. Most of these grandmothers, most of these aunties, most of them people that's a part of that new birth church and stuff like that, they former hoes. You know you don't have to hold yourself out and go through it in order to be able to be successful, right? Everybody don't have to suffer before you get to it. Wade in the water. Y'all want so bad to go and watch some more slave movies. Ain't you tired of watching slave movies? Ain't you tired of being a slave that you ain't never been before? Think about what I'm saying. Ain't you tired of being a slave that you ain't never been before? I know people that want so bad to want to have went through slavery. You don't have to be a slave. You know that, right? Look at what they did to our ancestors. Then there'd be people on the right side. They'd be like, man, I don't even know your ancestors. My bad. Then you get all of these white apologists that feel like they need to apologize to you for something they ain't even been a part of. Ain't y'all tired? Ain't you tired of being a victim? Listen to victim talk right here. Let me show you what victim talk look like.
Because history did not just end. Time did not just stop. We just got marching orders from the universe and the Electoral College.
The universe is trying to tell you something. You just got marching orders from the universe and the Electoral College. Okay, let's see what they told you to do.
As of today, American citizens who do want to hold on to democracy, we know exactly what we're going to be spending the next days and weeks and likely years of our life working on. And the strategic first moves come into focus quickly when you think about what other countries have shown us about how hard it is to regain democratic ground once.
Do y'all realize that this woman right here is going to go back to her huge house and her mansion and that she's reading from a script that some producer wrote for her? That Rachel Maddox is reading from a script to try to program you to do something while she goes back into her high paid. How much do Rachel Maddow make to sell y'all on this BS? Did y'all know that Rachel Maddow makes $30 million a year? You actually think she give a flying F about you and that she rocking with you? Rachel Maddow got a new deal with MSNBC effectively paying her making her the biggest primetime star, paying her more money to work less. $30 million through the 2024 election. $30 million. Did y'all know that Rachel Maddow she used to earn $7 million as a news anchor on MSNBC, and she signed a contract in 2021 that boosted her number to more than $30 million. Y'all listening to this? Are y'all listening to this woman? Do you really think that she's giving you the game and helping you to this woman is being paid to say some of the wildest things to y'all, and you're going to ruin your family because they continue to try to paint her as a wild liberal. I guarantee you this woman is probably more conservative than you would ever believe in behind the scenes.
Countries have shown us about how hard it is to regain democratic ground once an authoritarian leader has taken that ground. And the work has to be done now. The work that has to be done now, it has to.
She can't even read this correctly.
Happen in sort of every aspect, every corner of our society. The U.S. military needs to give the American people binding assurances that they will not deploy U.S. military force against the civilian population in this country. They can give those assurances, and now they should. The free press needs to give the people of this country assurances that they will not become state TV, that they will stand and fight together. They will put aside rivalries and petty professional differences. They will stand and fight together as the free press, as the fourth estate, as an institution that is a pillar of our democracy, as these guys on the other side inevitably start picking off individual journalists, individual publishers, individual news organizations to try ultimately to turn us all into some American accented version of RT.